On April 17th, 2025, loss prevention at Walmart observed a woman concealing clothing in her purse and called police. What started as simple shoplifting escalated into a physical confrontation with multiple charges. The question is, when the law collides with resistance, who crossed the line? Watch the officer take her to the ground as she claims a spine injury. The legal standard here comes from Graham versus Connor, the Supreme Court case that defines when force is justified. Courts ask three questions. How serious is the crime? Is there an immediate threat? Is the subject resisting? For shoplifting with active resistance, this level of force is legally defensible. But notice the technique knee pressure to the back. While permitted under Graham, many departments now restrict this due to injury risk. The officer is within legal bounds, but modern policing standards are evolving past what the law technically allows. This is the gap between legal and optimal. Loss prevention explains she paid for underwear but hid shirts in her purse. This matters because theft requires proving intent, what lawyers call mens rea. She didn't forget to pay, she deliberately chose which items to scan and which to conceal. That's the criminal intent prosecutors need. Under Ohio law, theft under $1,000 carries up to 180 days in jail. Now, the officer searches her purse and she objects, claiming he needs permission. This is a critical misunderstanding. Two Supreme Court cases, United States versus Robinson and Schimmel versus California, established that officers can search you in your immediate area after a lawful arrest. No warrant, no consent needed. The reasons are officer safety and preventing evidence destruction. He finds marijuana, and she says it's legal in Ohio. She's partially correct, small amounts are decriminalized, so no additional charges. But it doesn't stop the search. Then comes the Miranda warning. These aren't just words from TV. They protect your Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Miranda applies when two things exist. Custody, meaning you're not free to leave, and interrogation, meaning questioning. Both are present here. She asks what the charges are. Theft, third degree for the shoplifting, and obstruction for the resistance. Here's the key point. The obstruction charge only exists because she physically resisted. Under Ohio Revised Code, section 2921.33, resisting a lawful arrest is a separate crime. She just turned one misdemeanor into two. She reveals she's homeless and explains that's why she stole. Can poverty be a legal defense? Under Ohio law, no. Necessity defense requires proving the crime was the only way to prevent imminent, greater harm. Courts don't accept economic hardship as meeting that standard. It might reduce your sentence, but it won't eliminate guilt. Then she asks why she's going to jail instead of getting a ticket. Officers have discretion for misdemeanors. They can arrest or cite, but when you physically resist like she did, that discretion disappears. Resistance signals you won't appear voluntarily in court, so jail becomes the only option. A female officer searches her before transport, standard protocol to prevent weapons entering the vehicle or jail. Despite her hostility, the officer offers medical evaluation for her claimed spine injury. She declines, saying she'll handle it after release. This moment is crucial for documentation. If she later claims injury, this footage proves care was offered and refused. Evaluating the officer legally, probable cause existed through loss prevention's observation. Force was proportional under Graham because she actively resisted. The search was proper under Supreme Court precedent. Miranda was correctly given. Everything passes legal scrutiny. But communication was dismissive. Comments like, "You're not 5 pounds were unprofessional," and "he could have de-escalated better from the start." Legal compliance doesn't equal excellent policing. Grade C+. Now examine her choices. The theft evidence is strong. Deliberate concealment shows criminal intent. But shoplifting wasn't her worst decision. The critical mistake was physical resistance. Ohio law is clear. You cannot resist a lawful arrest even if you believe it's wrong. The proper response is comply, post bond, then challenge the arrest in court. File complaints, hire a lawyer, pursue civil rights claims if justified. The street is not the courtroom. By resisting, she committed a new crime and gave the officer legal justification for force. She also misunderstood search rights, repeatedly saying he needed permission. Search incident to lawful arrest doesn't require consent. It's an automatic exception to the warrant requirement once you're arrested. Her homeless status explains motive but doesn't excuse the crime or the resistance. Grade D-. This case illustrates core legal principles. First, Ohio structures theft by value under 1,000 as misdemeanor, above is felony. Second, Graham doesn't require minimal force. It requires reasonable force judged from the officer's perspective in that moment without hindsight. Third, search incident to arrest is a Fourth Amendment exception. The arrest itself authorizes the search. Fourth, Miranda protects Fifth Amendment rights during custodial interrogation. Both custody and questioning must be present. Fifth, resisting lawful arrest is always a separate crime in Ohio, regardless of whether the underlying arrest is later found invalid. The officer followed every legal requirement: probable cause, justified force, lawful searches, proper Miranda. But legal and optimal aren't identical. Modern policing emphasizes de-escalation, clear communication, dignity during arrests. There's room for improvement there. For citizens, understand you have rights and obligations. You cannot physically resist and claim self-defense. The Constitution provides remedies for misconduct, but those remedies are in court, not on the street. When you resist, you commit a crime and authorize force against you. Body cameras exist because we demanded accountability. Use them correctly, challenge illegal conduct through proper legal channels, but don't confuse your right to challenge with a right to resist. That's the lesson this case teaches.